on. And we are live. Satnam, beautiful people. Thank you all so much for joining me on this wonderful Friday evening. It is 6:19 p.m. here in Sedona, Arizona on September 3rd, 2021. And I am Spiritman J.T, Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman J.T, bringer of love, light, truth, predictions, and prophecy. And I am here to bring you today my top 20 predictions for September. But again, our prayers go out to all those in the storm of Ida who are still cleaning up the mess and still dealing with the floods. The visions I had of the subways being underwater in New York City are definitely have come into fruition sooner than I thought they would. But be sure to subscribe down below. Make sure when you do, you click on the bell and the all so that you get notifications, and make sure your notifications are set on your phone. And even if you thought you subscribed down below and did all that, double check, because people mysteriously become unsubscribed or the notifications get turned off on YT all the time, not just here, but on other channels as well. So we're going to be talking about, again, my top 20 predictions for this month. Keep in mind that predictions, just some positive things here this time. I tried to focus on getting in something somewhat positive. But when it comes to predictions are all about warning us of what's coming, to be prepared. Prophecy is written, it's going to happen. Predictions, I believe, can be shifted or changed during certain situations, especially when it has to do with the globalists doing their dark false flag events, and we are able to put that out into the light, and we can shift these things very often together. We are in this together, folks. This war against the darkness, we are all in it together. So I'll start backwards. These are not in any specific order, so to speak, but we're going to go with number 20 first. Number 20. Where'd it go? Lost my spot already. Number 20. So this one was kind of interesting. And it is a vision that I had of seeing two major arteries being shut down completely. And this is just the beginning of what an artery being shut down would begin to look like. They would have to divert to traffic. I'm not sure what country this is in, but I saw two major arteries shut down, and important goods like food, especially, having a problem on getting through. To a big city, especially. So this is an artery going into a major city that's completely backed up. And that major artery is being shut down, preventing food and important goods. I feel like part of this is purposely shut down, part of their little, things that they do, the cabal or whatever you want to refer to them as. Also, one of these is actually going to, there's two, I see two of these that are really important and really big, become a really big news story. One of these may actually be overseas. Australia may be the beginning of that, but also I see one of these being a bridge that's out. But again, this bridge is actually taken out purposely to block people from getting across. That particular artery cutoff perhaps could be connected to the Middle East and also Israel, and that area of the globe, especially with Israel. So this takes me to prediction number 19. Oh, lost it. Number 19. So number 19 has to do with, the thing that they want to give you in the arm. Call it what you like, but it has to do with something that I've touched base on, and I talked about back in 2015, seeing visions of this. And now we're going to see this coming into the light. You're going to see exactly this. Extreme communist type laws that are going to be getting to be pushed to push people into getting the stick and the arm, which will in turn be forcing people to use an app just like this one you see here, which is used in New York City already. This is the first, well, to me, the second step in their 3-step program of the Mark of the Beast. This is coming really big. This is going to be on an app on a phone that's going to be necessary in order for you to travel or even actually purchase food. I know this is already underway in places like China, but this is going to be coming to our home front doorstep within the next 6 months. And this, again, is step 2 of the Mark of the Beast. Next step after the chip is, of course, another lockdown. The app will be moved out in China, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Those are the order that I saw and wrote in my visions and in my notes, which takes me to number 17 prediction. Or wait, I'm sorry. I'm on number 18 prediction. My bad. Number 18. I was moving too fast, wasn't I? Number 18 prediction has to do with great protests. And again, this is happening on one level, but the way I see this happening is on a completely different level. I see a large rise up of protests that eventually actually become ugly. And this is actually going to be due to lockdown restrictions and what I talked about in the previous prediction. I have visions of actually riots, looting, and the type of behavior that type of behavior, but not from the actual protesters who actually have a right to be angry, a right to come together, a right to take back our rights and our freedom. This is on a minute level what's happening now compared to what is actually going to come, especially in 2022. As people rise up, this is going to occur in Europe, already is, but again, on a minute level compared to what is actually going to happen. Europe, England, the United Kingdom, parts of France, this is going to start rolling up in Canada. And it'll be a while before Americans actually begin to join in on what I'm going to label today as the Freedom War. I declare this the Freedom War during the time of our Great Awakening. And that would be number 17, taking me down to number 16, actually number 17. This, again, is something that's been predicted before, but something that's going to happen on a scale that is going to include coming for your guns, of course. They've been doing that. I mean, think about Australia right now, what's happening in Australia, and they're not allowed to go within a couple, 5 kilometers of their home, even if they need to go grocery shopping and there's not a store within that radius. Think about that happening and think about why they can't stand up and fight, because they don't have no guns. They came and took their guns. So not only do I see a rise up in protests and all, like I said, the cabal is going to make another huge attempt on coming for our guns, as per instilling fear into the people through several planned false flag shooting events. Remember, the darkness has means of ceremony to cause actual possession. So that's why you see these people that go on these mass shootings and they say the voices in their head told them to do it, or they're totally fogged out in another world like they were possessed. It's exactly what it is. It's a form of possession. And so a shooting would be legit and lives would be lost, but still. Planned events starting with our schools, both middle and high school and colleges, as a form of making parents fear putting their kids in school and moving them to a form of homeschooling, or making it easier like they did with lockdowns, making your kids go to school from home virtually. So this is a push for that, to keep your kids home virtually, disconnected from social life. But it's also a form of putting fear in about guns again. And this is coming, sadly. This is why we always need to hold into the light, pay attention to things that are going on around you, your kids in school, all that. Pay very close attention. Your kids are important. The kids are our future of our tomorrow. So this is 2 shootings on the East Coast, 1 on the West, and a 4th in mid-country. Oklahoma, California, Oregon, New York, Rhode Island, and Maine were states that popped in my brain. Media will make one of these shooters appear to be an anti, stick in the arm kind of guy against it. They're gonna, or her, could be a girl, who knows, but they're gonna make it look like that person was all against that. And again, that'll also bring in the whole, what I said in previous predictions about the app on your phone and forcing people to do that. This brings into equation, again, the past prediction that I talked about months ago about the Vegas shooting, and visions of repeats of that happening at a large gathering, shots fired from high above. Another way of putting fear into outdoor events and concerts. And when I'm talking about this, I feel like this is definitely more like October, fall season, like a fall concert or something like that. And that takes me to number 17, actually. So moving down to number 16 in my predictions, and my computer is not being my friend today at all. This one's kind of interesting, and y'all put your minds together on this one and see what you think about this particular prediction, because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of odd. But it has to do with wheels. Yes, wheels, folks. The wheels that go round and round. Has to do with tires, and Michelin tires, to be exact. Not to mention any specific brands or anything, but in my prediction itself, I would say that where to go? I keep having visions of Michelin tires. I keep seeing their logo as well. I can actually smell burning fire at the same time, rubber burning, and can only attempt to interpret this vision to the best of my ability. Perhaps a major shortage with rubber and tires, perhaps. The company getting burnt or caught for illegal activities, because you got to interpret everything in the visions that you have. So me having a vision of the tires of that logo would make me think it's definitely towards that particular company. Smelling something burning means, like, something coming out, like flames erupting. Doesn't necessarily mean an actual fire. So again, getting caught for illegal activities or something along those lines. But also a large explosion and a fire, perhaps at one of their factories. That could be actually more like it. But of all things, that particular tire company. So if anybody here is connected to anybody who works at those factories, to make sure that we are extra safe and keep those people extra safe. So the next one has to do with money and finances. And this is an important one. This is an important one for all of us, because we already know, and a lot of you watching this already are aware of what they call the Great Reset on money and so forth. So number 15, excuse me. We are going to hear about closing down of bank accounts, actually, people's bank accounts in storefront businesses in some countries due to the 2020 bug. This will be a way of forcing people into their submission with their stuck on you kind of rules and regulations, making the non-stickers the bad people, in turn causing more separation. So basically, again, what they're doing here, why does this keep opening up? Go away, computer. Okay, sorry about that. So basically what I'm saying here in this particular prediction is that they're going to start taking people's money away from them, blocking their bank accounts. And I feel like, as I'm saying this, China, maybe it's happening already, but over in that part of the globe for sure. But you're going to see them suppressing people, and they're going to start teaming and separating people between those that are all about, getting that little jab in the arm, and those that are not about it. Which takes me to they're going to make them the bad people. Number 14, advances in the 2020 bug. Heading into a 2021 version, advances in detection, sanitizing, and remedies that work wonders on killing this bug or virus. Some of these are electronic and won't be trusted, of course, by all the people, because you can't trust all that electronic stuff, but something amazing on the way of an electronic device that, again, detects and actually kills and does all of it in one, that will actually be legitimately a working device. Of course, once we get the better hand, they will serve up something new in late 2022, according to the last part of my prediction. Again, once we get a better handle on what's happening now, and they're gonna launch something new or different, and that won't be for at least probably maybe this time next year. It takes me to number 13. Number 13 has to do with the fire breaking out deeply in what looked to me like actually an apartment building, a skyscraper. And I got numbers related to this particular fire. The number 77, for example, or 7 came up to me in this particular one. But I see it looks like it might be actually the 7th level, but there's some kind of 7. It could even be the date, the 7th, coming up, the 7th of September. Didn't think about that when I was actually seeing this vision, but I see a fire ignite on a mid-level of an apartment building. And it appears to be in a city, like a city building, like the one I just showed in the video clip. I believe it ignites on the 7th floor, travels over three other buildings, question mark. Again, this is how things come to me. Just, I got the words travel over 3. So I said maybe 3 other buildings or 3 floors up, a 10-story building. That would be the other thing. If it starts on the 7th floor, it travels up to the top, which would be 10-story building. People caught in the middle of the night. For some reason, this fire will end up becoming a big story, perhaps due to how it actually starts. And again, waking people up in the middle of the night, we know that that's happening late. Number 12. This is another interesting one that I can't wait to see come into fruition, actually. See, some things I want to see come into fruition and some things I don't want to see come into fruition. But this one is always fascinated because I've always been an explorer since I was a little kid. I love to explore. And that's why I love to hear when we are going to find out that there is a new treasure being discovered. It just happened. Darn it. So yes, a new treasure being discovered. This is deep in the ocean. An ancient treasure is discovered and pulled up from the deep oceans, the Atlantic, Indian, or both, because I feel like there's a connection between two, even though they're far apart. A major discovery from underwater city that is first actually kind of covered up before the truth is revealed, and this connects probably both of these sites together. So again, an ancient treasure discovery. I get the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean popped in my mind. And I feel like there is a major discovery that'll be made that has been first covered up that has to do with an underground city. And this treasure and whatever it is feels like more like ancient knowledge, wisdom, not like treasure like gold. It feels more important to me, like covering up some of our history. And I feel like this has already actually probably been done and discovered, but the pieces coming together and this coming out into the light is coming out into the light really soon. And then as I tell you this, I see them literally pulling stuff on ships out of the water, big things. So whatever this discovery is, it's interesting and it has to do with a lot of wisdom, on our history and the planet. It's probably why they want to cover it up, which takes me to another interesting prediction, number 11, which, come to think of it, that 11 could even represent means the 11th prediction, the month of November, where a great new discovery in ancient Egypt also attempted to be covered up. An old discovery made anew. So this is the one actually that something they discovered last year in 2020 and only now begin to release this discovery. They hide the true artifact that they actually find. Soon after this all occurs, I got that there would be political upheaval in Egypt and surrounding countries. What is it that they really discover? Think about that. If they're discovering something and they already did, and the main artifact in Egypt is being hidden, and they're only telling you about the little stuff. And then soon after this gets released and this information comes to light, there's a political upheaval in Egypt. Makes you wonder what that object is and if that object has absolutely anything to do with that. Number 10, I see some type of attacks on what appears to be, of course, sadly, Africa and South Africa, as their political unrest continues and brings terror-like attacks or even actual war, a new war. I simply see these explosions going off and I hear the loud sounds and see these explosions. And it kind of reminded me of news clips of South Africa. That's what made me think South Africa. And that's number 10. Number 9 is kind of an interesting one as well. And I tried to come up with some different interesting, but I can only get what comes through and is channeled by spirit, of course. But this has to do with a heist, a famous heist, actually. Dun 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 dun. I know, corny, right? A stolen art heist that includes precious gems, perhaps that connected to a queen or a hierarchy. This takes place in a big city like Paris or, England, or even New York City. It is possible that some of the stolen art or stolen artifacts is actually destroyed somehow in the transfer, but I do feel like they will retrieve some of this back. So whatever this is, it's stolen. It's something, again, that belonged to like a queen or is the queen's, and it's in a museum, I would imagine. And there's art that goes with that. And as I say that, I think of like a crown with jewels in it or something like that. So again, that would be a big story. That would be something, I haven't heard, not that I follow a stolen art heists, but I haven't heard of one of them. And that would be something really high up to be able to get something connected to a queen or a hierarchy. That takes me to number 8. I see a rising up of people on another level, fighting in what is portrayed as riots, but truthfully, people are fighting for their freedom and their rights of choice. This takes me to one of the ones I talked about previously at the top of the predictions. This will be, again, over forced lockdowns and new tracking that forces citizens to get stuck. So I talked about this earlier in another prediction, but this one's a little different because it talks about, again, forced lockdowns, but also a new tracking device that forces citizens to get stuck. What is that? What are they tracking that they can force people to get stuck? That'll be interesting to see how that portrays. And why I talk about that, Australia keeps popping up in my mind. The suppression that they're experiencing. Number 7, I see a plane being taken with hostages. Oh, I didn't know that guy was still there. Sorry about that. I see a plane being taken with hostages, excuse me. And it appears to be outside of an airport on a runway or like an airport or environment of sorts. I'm not clear what country this is, but it does not appear to be like an American runway because I see a lot of steps out there, but I feel like Americans are on this plane. Or it has something to do with America. They will put this out in the media with false pretexts. So remember, when we see something come up, and especially mainstream media, about a plane with hostages being taken, in this visual that I had envisioned, know that whatever the media is portraying is with complete false pretext behind it. I feel like it all gets released. Things are well. It goes better than it could have anyway. Not that it goes great, but I feel like the outcome will go better than it could have. Number 6, and this takes us to the person that people truly actually believe might be actually running the United States of America. I don't know how anybody could truly believe that that's possible, but it's all about the President JB of the United States. And I see issues that come up around Joe Biden, again, mainly with his health. There he is there. And so Joe Biden is hospitalized, likely around the holidays. Media will make it appear confusing, like JB is confused because he's confused. So they're going to make it confusing. I don't know how they're making it confusing, but the media is making it confusing. Just like, again, that man is confused, very confused. They will make it appear that he's okay, which, we all can know is not going to be true at all. So when he's hospitalized and they make it appear that he's okay or recovering, don't take it as truth. And how they pour this out of context, it'll be interesting to see how that portrays with that number 6 prediction, which takes me to number 5. Justin Trudeau. A lot of people in Canada have been asking me about him. A lot of people have been asking me in comments about Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau ends up in the spotlight with a dark light, bringing out anger and rage by citizens. And that's, again, exactly how I channeled it through. Justin Trudeau ends up in the spotlight with a dark light, bringing out anger and rage by citizens. I would interpret that something, again, dark truth is going to be revealed about him if it raises anger in people. Justin is a good little soldier of Lucifer's little army. The dark tries to protect him. His protection is running out. Sex scandals unravel. Justin ends up sick, likely with the 2021 bug. So I guess 2021, this year, people of Canada begin to rise up in protest come 2022. The holiday season seems to be a time when globalists attempt to ruin the holiday season and suppress Christians and celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. So remember that, and we fight for our rights, especially in America, for our freedom of religion and so forth. Number 4, this one was disturbing. I saw vehicles literally driving off the edge of a bridge, an open bridge or a bridge that wasn't there. And it looked daylight to me. It appears to be daylight, and either part of the bridge is missing or part of the bridge is up. I just see these cars going over the edge of the bridge. It's all I saw in my vision. Don't know where it is, but it looks kind of American to me. But again, how can you tell? I didn't see the road signs. I just saw them from a distance, like I was watching from up in the sky. Number 3. And we already know this is coming. It's already probably happening on some level or another, with everything that's going on over there in the Middle East and all that stuff. I mean, it's not hard to see that things are going to flare up even more, and that parts of the government actually, parts of the United States military arranged for this chaos to happen, which takes me to that number 3 vision. I see visions of military launching missiles, taking out towers that look to me like an airport tower, and what appears to be a power station and a grid as well. So a whole power grid, I see, being hit with missiles. The vision shows me mountains in the background. I see separate drone missile attacks nearby. Seems like it's all out of an act of war. It felt like an act of war, somebody trying to like bring up an act of war. I am not clear what countries this is, but Russia popped in my mind for some reason. Maybe not just because they necessarily are involved, but perhaps this is somewhere along the borders of Russia. Not necessarily in Russia, but the borders of Russia, which again takes us to parts of the Middle East. It also feels like whatever the drone attack is targeted and done by the United States. Actually, the drone aspect felt like it was done and targeted by the United States, like controlled from here, these drones. I see oil refineries on fire, exploding, causing major rises in fuel prices, which is already happening, but hold on tight. They're going to push that gas up past $5 a gallon. You wait. This takes me to number 2, which has to do with the financial markets. And I know a lot of people are interested in the financial markets. But again, things may seem good, but especially when it comes to the housing market, but it's not going to be good for long. They have the Great Reset in their minds. I don't know if you're aware of that, but number 2, major fluctuations are coming in the stock markets and other investments. This happens to be a huge jump in select few investment options. So there's a select few options that will have a huge jump. Like overnight, they're making millions, kind of like they did with 9/11. If you look at the inside, facts about that whole thing and who made millions off the stock market that particular day, it kind of makes me feel like something related to that, while others just begin to fall. So you're going to see a select few rise and all the rest fall. I see Apple having problems with their stocks as it drops for whatever reason. As I always tell you all, silver and gold is the way to go. And soon, because precious metals are also going to continue to increase in price and value significantly over just between now and the end of the year. These new these next few months into 2022, we are going to see a rollout of all these different cryptocurrencies, all too much at once, launched by the globalists and big banks. Social media platforms like Facebook launches a currency. And so many are connected actually as a web of darkness, even though they're going to make it look confusing. And they're going to make it look like they're all not connected, but they're all connected to the dark web and the spider that walks that web and will bite you if it can. So be aware of that. That's what's coming. It's all going to be a confusing thing. It's and I wrote in my notes and channeled through, do not get caught up in their web. There will be confusion and a warlike scenario with cryptocurrencies in the future. The right one can make you millions, but their trick is to fool you. Be forewarned, because they're good at fooling people. And I finalized that with the housing market bubble. The housing bubble will also burst in early 2022. So you still got some time to sell those properties and make some good cash, and wait a little while longer to buy, because things will go down in price. And my last prediction, number 1 of all predictions, and this is an alert, folks. This is an alert for everybody. And I got some important dates to add on for you as well. But again, when we stay alert and we pay attention to what's going on, we can stop things like terror attacks. And that's what I have, is that terror alerts will go into the red globally as more problems escalate in the Middle East, especially with Iran, Kuwait, and Israel flaring up tensions. I see 3 separate car-like bombings. One is a suicide car bombing outside a military base. 11 is the key. I don't know what that means. Maybe on the 11th. And if it is, then we know that that is definitely a false flag. Not that it's a false event. So make sure, if you don't know what that means, false flag, make sure you understand. It doesn't mean a false event. It just means they do it to trick you into their plans. I see a large van, 2 large vans packed with explosives, white or grayish in color. It looked like off-white to me. It was dark when I saw the vision of this. I feel this is an inside job and a target being America. The target being America by Americans. So again, it's an inside job. They're going to make it look like something on the outside in some way. but they will not make it appear like, of course they're going to cover up their tracks. I believe and hold in the light that these trucks are full of explosives and are apprehended. So we can all hold that in the light, that these trucks are going to be out there. And, if we hold in the light that they're apprehended before any destruction or any death occurs, we can stop that. Chicago popped in my mind recently, and it's been popping up in my mind. So I don't know if that could be the potential area of an attack on a city, because I see that something very city-like. And I mentioned to you all about having visions and thoughts of another 9/11 type thing happening. And again, that was all done to basically start the war in the Middle East that's been going on for decades. So a potential attack on a city. On the same subject, I also saw an airliner, so it's almost more than one prediction in number one, 2 in 1. I saw a major airliner explode in midair, and it appears to me like it was taking off or gaining altitude when it just exploded. And this is a secret missile attack from a drone. So when that happens, I don't know where this is, but that's just the vision I had. I saw it just looked like it was gaining altitude, just blew up, and then I got it was a secret missile attack from a drone. Important dates to look up to. September 11th, again, I just feel like that date, we already know it's significant to Americans and people that remember that 9/11 attack in New York City. But September 11th has been popping in my mind so strong a lot lately. So that's a significant date. Significant things are going to happen on that date. And then the dates, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of September. The 22nd is spring equinox. It's a 22-day. And I forget, I think the full moon somewhere around there, just moon cycle, but remember that date, the 22nd, and of course the 29th. And then that's probably in the way of weather and storm systems, and then October 1st. And then I'll have more out to you in the near future. So to keep up, because I got a lot more predictions when I opened up that channel since last night, I've been getting more information and more visions. But I'm going to leave you with that top 20 for now. All the more reason to be sure to subscribe down below. When you do, again, click the bell, click the all. Check out my community, Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar. You can find the links. And also down below, you'll find a link to my newsletter that I just put out for September with my energy report that's also channeled through in my message. And you'll find special offer on private sessions and upcoming classes, workshops, and a virtual Divine Messages from the Other Side gallery event. So check all that out in the link down below. I love you all for loving you and loving me, and let us be in love together. Remember, as I always say, remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, celebrate the amazing you are, and celebrate the blessings and miracles and amazing flow of abundance, joy, and happiness that come into your life each and every day. The more you do, the more flows of blessings and miracles you will experience. The more we bitch and complain, the more the universe will just give us to bitch and complain about. Thank you so much. Thank you for your chat cash. Thank you for sending donations through PayPal. Thank you for just being you. Until the next time, have a great Labor Day weekend in the United States and a great weekend no matter where you are in the world. Spiritman J.T. signing off with love, with light, and with gratitude. See y'all.